Today's video is being done by request. One of my coaching clients, who we will call Pam, asked the question, how do you set boundaries with uncouth, disrespectful family members who abuse your hospitality when you're hosting a gathering at your residence? So that's the question that she asked. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share if you find value here. Let's get this channel to 100,000 subscribers. I know with your support we can reach that goal. So Pam is dealing with a cousin who she calls uncouth and who blatantly disregards her boundaries and her hospitality whenever he comes over. But because he's family, the rest of the family is telling her that she needs to just tolerate it. So she's been hosting the family gathering for Thanksgiving for about the past 3 to 4 years. She's in her mid 40s, 44, 45. And the cousin is about 38. And one year, when she had the gathering, he lit up a cigarette. She explained to him that this is a no smoking house. He already knew that. And she told him that, if you could step outside and then come back in when you smoked a cigarette. He was like, oh, well, you could just open up a window. Now, this is her house. And if she does not want to expose her lungs to cigarette smoke, it's her house. And he proceeded to smoke the cigarette. And he didn't open the window. He just told her she could open the window. And when she told the other family members that bothered her, they basically are like, well, you know how he is. And they make excuses for his behavior. So that's 1 year. So it's always been something, whenever she has gatherings, even outside of Thanksgiving. So the straw that broke the camel's back was this Thanksgiving. She had the family gathering. She sent out a text to her family, the whole family, letting them know that the gathering will be starting at 4 p.m. He arrives at 10 a.m. in the morning. He is 10 minutes away, so he's not coming from out of town where his Amtrak, his plane, or his Greyhound arrived hours earlier and he has no place to go, because he lives in another town. No, he's 10 minutes away. But he doesn't have Netflix, and he wanted to watch some shows, a series on Netflix. So he decided, without telling her, without asking, that he was going to come over at 10 a.m. to watch his shows, since she was only 10 minutes away. So she's trying to get everything ready for Thanksgiving. She's cleaning, cooking, making the food. And when he comes, she says, what are you doing here? The gathering doesn't start till 4 o'clock. And so he was like, oh, cause I just thought I'd come by early. And she was like, well, if you could come back at 4, I got so much cleaning and cooking and, things to do that I'm not really ready to entertain company this early, because it's 10 a.m. in the morning. And so he's like, oh, well, his family, stop being that way, whatever have you. And so against her better judgment, she lets him come in. So he's sprawled out on the couch and he's asking her to pass him this, pass him that, make him a sandwich. And she is really annoyed because, again, she's trying to cook and clean for Thanksgiving. But this is really on her. She should have stuck to her boundaries. And we had the conversation. So she knows. We had the conversation. So the evening goes on. He's getting on her nerves the whole time. The rest of the family comes. She expresses to the family what happened, that he was there since 10. And, he wanted to come to watch Netflix. She was annoyed. She asked him to help. He wouldn't even move the table over so that she could set the table up. He was just laying on the couch and didn't even take off his sneakers. I can't wrap my mind around this. So not only that, what ends up happening was, as the evening progresses, he it's just cutting up, telling her about herself, that she thinks she's this, she thinks she's that. And no one's coming to her defense. And basically their excuse is, how he is, and, just be the bigger person. And so she's at the point where she does not want him to come back to her home, or she doesn't want to host Thanksgiving again. And she's asking, how do I set boundaries with a family member who is very disrespectful and just blatantly disregards the boundaries. How do you set boundaries with somebody like that? So let's dive in. I want to give you some scriptures because I sense that there's a real struggle here. You know, some people are naturally stern, no nonsense people, and then some people really struggle with people pleasing. And so even though I'm going to give you some tips that you will find helpful, until you deal with the people pleasing and the difficulty with standing by your boundaries, this is going to happen time and time again. And what I mean by people pleasing is, in your instance, is that you're getting pushback from your family that feels that you're just supposed to tolerate his bad behavior. And because you are worried about how your family is going to react to you and what they're going to say about you if you hold the line on your boundary, it is causing you to backtrack on your own boundaries, and that falls under people pleasing, because we can't have it both ways. And so you are the host. It is your house. Your family is not dealing with this problem. You were the one dealing with the problem. And so even though they want to sit there and tell you what you should do, it is not happening to them. And a lot of times people can be very insensitive when something is happening to you but not happening to them, because they're not feeling the brunt of it. It's not happening to them. So it's easy to say just tolerate it, because they don't have to tolerate it because it's not happening in their home. So you got to really get clear about that and really begin to do some self-reflective thinking around your ability to withstand their upset with you, because you're going to hold the line on your boundaries. So with that out of the way, let me give you some scriptures. Leviticus 25:17 says, "Do not take advantage of each other, but fear your God. I am the Lord your God." And so clearly this is a situation where your cousin is taking your kindness for weakness and is taking advantage of you. So you can have some peace of mind about holding the line on your boundaries. The scriptures are clear. Leviticus 25:17 says, "Do not take advantage of each other, but fear your God. I am the Lord your God." So meditate on that scripture and let that begin to really move through you, to begin to renew your mind towards building your boundaries, and not only building them, because a lot of people have boundaries verbally, but holding the line on your boundaries. The next scripture I want to give you is Proverbs 25:17. Proverbs 25 verse 17. I'm going to read you the New International Version. It says, "Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house. Too much of you and they will hate you." So this is some real strong wisdom, that when we overstay our welcome, when we're constantly in somebody's house, over time they begin to tire of us. We begin to wear on their patience. And so it sounds like your cousin is wearing on your patience. Not that you hate him, but that he's wearing on your patience. You're beginning to resent the imposition because he is imposing on you, and you have needs and priorities, and he has no regard for your needs and priorities. See, too much of you and they will hate you. Proverbs 25:17. And so this is not saying that we should hate people. What it's saying is that the effect is showing us the effect of somebody constantly imposing on you, constantly overstaying their welcome. Over time, it will create resentment, because you will start to feel burnt out, overwhelmed, and overextended. And so you got to care for yourself and honor that if you're starting to feel that way. Last scripture I want to give you is Matthew 5 verse 37. And this is to speak to your boundaries. And it says, "Simply let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything more than these is from the evil one." And so you got to know when to give a clear yes and a clear no. And so a clear yes is not just the word yes, and a clear no is not just the word no. It is standing by the boundary you set when you say yes or no. So when you say, no, this is a no smoking house, and the cousin proceeds to take the cigarettes out, you got to stand by the no. So the no may sound like, if you like the cigarette, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. But because We don't want to get the pushback from other. How can you throw your family out of your house? How can you light up and you don't even know if I got asthma? Like, you don't know what kind of health issues that I may be dealing with. And even if I don't have a health issue, it is my house. You don't get to override my rules in my house because I pay the cost to be the boss. Plain and simple. So as you begin to hold the line on your boundaries, do know that there will be people who will be upset, because when a person wants to have their way and their way conflicts with your way in your home, it is your way in your home. It is not their home. He can go home and smoke. He can get in his car and smoke. That's up to him. You're not telling a grown man not to smoke. You're saying your house is a no smoking house. If he wants to smoke, that's his choice. You can't override another grown adult. Smoke in your car, smoke in your house, just don't smoke here. That's what you're saying. So you got to let your yes be yes and your no be no. So really begin to pray about that. Pray that God begin to strengthen you in those areas, because again, most people have a difficult time holding the line on the boundary. It's not saying the boundary. It is when you get the pushback, you have to push back again. When somebody pushes back, then you got to push back to say, no, this is what it is. So you got to be clear about that, right? So I'll give you an example in my own life. If I have a boundary that says I do not receive calls after 9 p.m. because I wake up early, and let's say I have a friend or a family member who constantly calls me after 9 p.m., so they're giving me pushback, and they're like, well, I don't see why I can't talk to you after 9, and if you were a loving person, I should be able to talk to you after 9, a real friend, I should be able to call you in the middle of the night. You can't call me in the middle of the night unless you're in the hospital or somebody died. I mean, something extreme. So even though they may push back by calling me at 9, they're going to get my voicemail. They're going to get my voicemail. And then when they see me and ask me, I'm not going to lie and play games. I'm not going to pretend I didn't get the message. No, I'm too old. I'm not playing them games. I'm not going to pretend oh no, I didn't know you called me or two. No. Oh, actually, I saw it. I was watching TV and I saw the call coming in. But I remember clearly saying that I don't accept calls after 9. So you do know that if you call me after 9, you're going to get my voicemail. That's my response. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going through all of that. No, I saw it. Matter of fact, I'm going to do you one better. I had the phone in my hand because I was scrolling. But I said I don't accept calls after 9. So you have to be the one to hold the line on your boundaries. And it doesn't matter how people feel about it. I don't care who doesn't like the fact that I'm not going to accept their call after 9. Choose not to be my friend. That's on you. It don't bother me. I'm living my life. So you have to be able to hold the line on your boundary. And people can say all kind of, well, what if? Hold the line on your boundary. You can't have it both ways. You can't live for other people. So with that being said, here's what I want you to think about. Be clear about what is your responsibility and what is not. A lot of times in families where the dynamics are unhealthy and there's a lot of enmeshment, family members tend to feel responsible for another family member's behavior and emotions. You are not responsible for your cousin's behavior and emotions. He is not your minor child who you are raising and you are legally responsible for. He is not your older adult parent who has become frail and you have made the intentional decision to help them out. This is a whole grown adult, 37, 38 years old, who was able-bodied. So be clear about what you're responsible for. So number one, you're not responsible for his lack of self-awareness. You're not responsible for that. So if he is not putting in the work to be self-aware, to realize that certain behaviors are behaviors that are an imposition, it is not your responsibility to hold etiquette sessions with him. Not at 37, 38 years old. You are not responsible for his lack of social skills. You're not responsible for that. He is not your minor child that you are guiding for society. That was his parents' job when he was a minor. You are not responsible for your family members, the extended family, the rest of the family. You're not responsible for their feelings about how you run your household. So if your household is a no smoking household and they feel you should just tolerate your cousin lighten up in your home as opposed to showing you the courtesy to just step outside, go smoke in your car, go smoke on the steps, and they feel a way about it that they're upset, you're not responsible for that. Don't get enmeshed in that. You've grown and you're on your own. 2, this is going to sound real rough. It is not your responsibility to fix what his parents failed to provide. That was a mouthful. So if they didn't provide boundaries and accountability, that's not your responsibility. Or maybe they did provide those things, but your cousin chooses not to live by them. That's not your responsibility. There are consequences to our choices. And sometimes the consequence to the choice to blatantly and perpetually disregard someone's boundary is me removing myself from your life. Or me, if not totally removing myself from your life, me being less and less available, me not spending time with you, me not hosting you in my home. Those are possible consequences of bad behavior. So it's not your responsibility to fix what a grown adult is neglecting to work on. So here are some ways that you may set boundaries in general when you are dealing with people who are discourteous, who are uncouth, who blatantly disregard boundaries. Like you can look at the behavior and say, oh, this is going to be a problem, or this one curses, cuts up, smoke weed. I don't want that in my house. You have a right to set expectations and rules for your home. You pay the cost to be the boss. And it doesn't matter who doesn't like it. And if they choose to not want to speak to you or have an attitude with you, oh, well, so be it. Oh, well, so be it. Oh, well, so be it. Because what you're not going to do is manipulate my emotions by giving me the silent treatment. If you give me the silent treatment, you better mean it. You better make sure you mean it. Because I'll never open up my mouth to speak again. I'm not asking you what's wrong. No, we grown. You are not my minor child that I gave birth to. I'm not playing games, especially knowing that you are dealing with someone who is behaving in a manipulative manner. You are not called to walk in stupidity. We are called to walk in love. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone who is operating in the spirit of witchcraft, because manipulation is witchcraft, is to choose to pray for them, pray for those who persecute you, pray for them from a distance. Just like you can love people from a distance, you can pray from a distance. You can pray in your home while they cut up in their home. So here are some things, and again, you're really going to have to get clear and comfortable with people's reaction to your boundaries, because this is rough and it's stern. I'm very stern with my boundaries, and people are going to be taken aback by the level of directness and sternness of a boundary. But remember, we're talking about discourteous people who are disrespectful. So we're not talking about your family members who get it, who are respectful. You have a good aligned relationship. That's not what we're talking about here. So if you come here with the craziness, the comments will be deleted, because my comment section is not the wild, wild west. You don't have to like it. You don't have to listen. You can exit. So here's something you can do. And I want to warn you that people will be taken aback when you set this boundary if you're having a gathering. I have done this, and there have been whole phone conversations about the way that I move. So I know that people will not like this, but baby, you're going to live stress-free. You're going to live stress-free. Number one, set a clear start and end time with clear boundaries around the start and end time. So I have had gatherings, and not just family, friend gatherings over the years, where I give you a start and an end time. I'm hosting a little luncheon at my house from 2 to 7. From 1 to 5, whatever the time is, there's a clear start time and an end time. And I actually had a person who said, me and my mother had a whole conversation, but I have never seen an invitation to somebody's house with an end time. Now, I've seen it at you're going to a banquet hall, but no, I want you to know so that you're prepared in advance what time you got to go. So set a clear start time and an end time with clear boundaries around the start time and the end time. So I am very clear. And so if my gathering is 2 to 7, it's 2 to 7. So by 6:45, I'm going to start cleaning up. I'm going to start putting food. Anybody want a plate to go? Oh, I'm just going to have no, we ain't doing no more plates here. So any plates got to be plates to go. Because it's 6:45 and, we're wrapping up at 7 this evening. And I'll remind you. I'm going to remind you. So you may not want to come to my house if that bothers you. That's fine by me. That is fine by me. So we're going to start cleaning up at a certain time. If we playing music, 7 o'clock, if my thing in at 7 o'clock, the music's cut off. You're going to be in the middle of your favorite song, the music is cut off. We might let the song play to the end if the song is 2 minutes. And if it's winter time, I'm going to start handing you your coats. So when you know that you might be dealing with an individual who really doesn't get boundaries, you might have to help them along. And so set a clear start time and a clear end time. Now, some people are not going to be comfortable doing this because that's a lot of gall. So some people are not going to be comfortable doing this. But see, I'm very clear with my yes and my no. Yes, you're welcome from 2 to 7. No, you can't stay here all night. I'm going to let my yes be yes and my no be no. Yes, make yourself at home till 5 o'clock till it ends. Yes, enjoy yourself, eat up, take to-go plates. Take to-go plates. Enjoy yourself till it's time to go. So set a clear start time and an end time with clear boundaries around the start time and the end time. So put all of that information when you're sending out. And then you are moving, like as I said, when I know that I'm ending, my behavior is very clear. I'm packing up. I'm saying who would like a to-go plate because we're going to be wrapping up in about 15 minutes. I say that to people aloud. And so as you are beginning to do that, then people have a sense, and they might not like everything you do, but I'll tell you one thing, they're going to respect your home. And now there's exceptions to every rule. So it might be someone that's like, hey, my ride's not coming for another hour, but we're not talking about the discourteous family member, right? We're talking about a family member who's respectful, whatever. Okay, fine. Hang out here till your ride comes. Not a problem at all. But when you have that family member who cuts up and you've decided to invite them anyway, now, there's a choice around that because, again, you have options. Then you want to be crystal clear. Next, if you do not want to host overnight guests because you have witnessed this person cut up in somebody else's home, you know how they are, you've had enough experience, years of experience, you going to wake up in the middle of the night to read. You going to wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, who's this stranger in my house? Oh, I met them at the bar. If you know that that's going to be the situation because you know how that family member gets down, then you want to send a list of nearby hotels when you send out the invitation. See, you got to learn how to let your yes be yes and your no be no. And so the text may sound something like this. Hey, we having such and such from such and such time to such and such time. I will not be hosting overnight guests this year. So for anyone who's coming out of town, I wanted to make sure to give you nearby hotels. You can click on the hotels and you'll see the prices for the hotels, as I will not be hosting overnight guests. And you're sending this out 2 months in advance to give them time to get everything together. See, if you're afraid to say that, then be miserable. I mean, those are your two choices. Let them cut up and be miserable. So there are exceptions to every rule. So we're not talking again about the family member who is respectful, respects your boundaries. It's like, hey, let me help you clean up. Let me help you with the dishes. Let me help you with that. We're talking about the family member again. You go to bed, you wake up in the middle of the night to read, and you hear two people knocking boots, and you like, where did you meet? Where'd you pick up this person? Oh, I met them at the Walmart. Oh, I met them at the gas, and you brought them back to my home. We don't know if they're a serial killer. It be family members like that. It be that cousin that you don't really know how you don't really know them how you think they know them, and they move very differently than you. Do you honestly want to deal with that? And especially if you have children. So you want to put it out there that you are not hosting overnight guests if you know that they're going to volunteer themselves to stay at your home, and you know it's going to be problematic because you've had problems in the past. Put it out there in the chat so the whole family sees it, and nobody could play stupid like they don't know what you're talking about. Since I won't be hosting overnight guests, here is a list of hotels. And then last but not least, in advance, tell them what you understand. This is the closer. Tell them what you understand. I understand if you won't be able to make it this year because you were expecting to stay with me, but I won't be hosting any overnight guests. So I do understand. Enjoy. God bless. I understand if you're not able to travel out to this part of town this year because, and you can fill in the blanks. So before they can even talk smack about you, you already putting it out there. I understand. Understand essentially means that I'm not changing my mind because you don't like it. And if you're that concerned, then Auntie so-and-so, let us stay with you. Let us stay with you. So I understand that, some of you may have had a different setup in mind, but this will be the setup this year. So let me know if you're coming. And if you're not able to make it, hopefully I'll see you next year, or I'll see you in the future. See, we're not bending our boundaries. We're not being guilt tripped. We're not being gaslit. We are not going to have people play in our face and disrupt the peace in our home. Now, do understand that people are going to talk about you. They'll be like, you know how she is. That's what people say about me. They'll be like, you know how she is. You're going to get there, you know how she is. But the beauty is you are going to have minimal stress in your life. So you get to decide. But this is the no-nonsense guide, the no-nonsense, keep it a buck guide to setting boundaries with discourteous people, And you always have the option to choose not to invite that person. That is an option. It is your home. You do not have to be psychologically tortured by somebody lighting up in your home after you told them that it's a no smoking house. Why do you have to be subjected to that? This is a grown person. You both speak the same language. You mean to tell me they can't walk a few steps to walk and sit in their car, or to go across the street and smoke the cigarette, or to sit on the steps? They don't know how to do that? So they blatantly telling you they don't give 2 cents about your boundaries. But you got to give more than 2 cents about your boundaries. Because your boundaries are there for your self-care. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything more comes from the evil one. So what happens is when we don't give a clear yes or a clear no, it gives Satan a foothold for resentment to build up in our hearts. Because when you're saying yes to things that wear on your patience, that wear on your peace, that rob you of your peace, resentment begins to build in when you can just have a clear conversation. Everybody's not going to like the way you move in the world, but guess what? You're not put on earth to be a people pleaser. We are to please God. And you are not put on earth to tolerate chronic, perpetual abuse. Do not allow family to gaslight you into believing that you have to tolerate abuse because they tolerate it. Do not allow family to gaslight you into believing that you have to tolerate blatant disrespect in your home because they tolerate blatant disrespect in their home. It's your home. What they do in their home is their business. Do not allow family to convince you to believe that you have to be enmeshed in unhealthy dynamics, unhealthy family dynamics that do not support the healed and evolved version of the man or woman you've evolved into today. Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? And so if you have a cousin who has agreed to be disrespectful, who has agreed to be discourteous, who has agreed to blatantly disregard the boundaries that you set in your home for your own psychological safety, y'all are not even aligned. You're not even in agreement. So it's your life. You can choose to be miserable. That choice is absolutely available to you. You can choose to allow someone to dance all over your boundaries. That choice is available. And I don't say this facetiously. Whenever you're ready, because nobody can make you ready. Whenever you're ready, you will do what you need to do for your peace of mind. So I hope you found it helpful. I want to also let you know about a couple of things we have coming up. So on Saturday, December 14th, I'm having my vision board workshop backed by popular demand. So Saturday, December 14th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, we're having the vision board by Zoom, where I'm going to be guiding you through how to create a 5-fold vision board to end the year strong and start the new year with clarity and strategy. So a lot of people ask, are vision boards biblical? And I will say it depends on the principles that the facilitator is using to teach the vision board. So if someone is teaching the vision board based on occult practices, then obviously it's not biblical. In my vision board workshops, they are undergirded from the biblical scripture Habakkuk 2:2, Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain, so that he who reads it may run with it. And so what we do in my vision board workshop is pulling from that scripture, Habakkuk 2:2. You're writing the vision by way of the pictures, the scriptures, and the words that you add to your vision board. So a vision board is simply the paper that you use. There's nothing unbiblical about paper. And you are adding your goals, your dreams, the God-inspired goals and dreams that you are moving your life in the direction of. So that's what we'll be doing. A lot of people who try to create vision boards don't have success because they create smorgasbords where there's everything but the kitchen sink and there's no strategy to it. Or you have a hodgepodge collage. It's beautiful. You could frame it and put it up on your wall, but it doesn't give you guidance and direction as it relates to a tactical strategy for birthing your vision into fruition. And so that's what we're going to be doing in this vision board workshop. And so if I were you, I would not wait to get my tickets. The link is in the video description box. It's a ticketed event. When you click on the link, it'll take you to Eventbrite. When you get to Eventbrite, you'll see the ticket prices and everything the event entails. And if you're interested, you'll get a ticket. If not, you won't. Hope to see you there. I also want to let you know that we have some new journals out. They're available at Amazon. And a lot of you have been asking for blank journals. So we have blank journals, but they're a little different than the regular blank journals. So these are themed blank journals, where it's blank pages, but the journal has a focus. So there is the Trust in the Lord journal. There is the Be Anxious for Nothing blank journal. There is the God's Workmanship journal, and God Has Plans to Prosper You journal. And so when you go to Amazon and you look at the journals, you'll see what I mean by theme journals, where it gives you a scripture to really be the guiding principle as you are writing in your blank journal. So the link to my books is also in the video description box. My books are available at Amazon. They're all available there. Some are available at Barnes & Noble's, Walmart, and Target, but all at Amazon. So I want to make sure that you know about that as well. On the Wednesday Wellness Club, our next Wednesday Wellness meeting is this Wednesday, December 4th, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be talking about why your childhood wounds flare up around the holidays and what you can do to take care of yourself when you feel anxious, stressed, and triggered. So we're going to really be diving into that in our Wellness Club. So the Wellness Club is one of the features of being a member of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel at the Wellness tier. And it's a therapeutic group that meets the first and third Wednesday of every month by telephone conference call. And we focus on mental health, emotional well-being, mental mastery through a biblical lens. And it is way cheaper than therapy. Way, way, way cheaper than therapy. If you look at the cost of therapy, it can be an upwards of $250 for one session. So you are getting beyond a bargain by becoming a member at the Wellness Club tier, where we are focusing on mental health through a biblical lens. I want to make sure that you know about the resources we have for you outside of the general public video. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Let's do our best to be kind to one another, but let's also take our common sense with us, and let's also make sure that we are exercising our boundaries in a world where increasingly people do not respect people's boundaries. So with that being said, have a blessed one.
No matter who you are, you will have haters. John 15 verse 18 says, if the world hates you, know that it hated Jesus first. So if you have haters, know that God is greater than your haters. Lately you've been feeling the weight of your haters coming at you with their envy and their hate, scheming against you, throwing mud on your name. But God's gonna work it out despite their lies and game. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer. Let the haters hate while you elevate. Pay no mind to the critics, be about your goals. Keep rising, keep shining. Your haters can't stop no show. They can hate all they want to. Remember you are blessed. Never let a hater see you sweat, cause this is just a test. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer. Let the haters hate while you elevate. Don't let the negativity poison your mind. Run your race with grace, one day at a time. They can laugh and they can mock you, but you won't miss a beat. When people don't receive you, shake the dust off your feet. God is greater, so much greater than your haters. God is greater, don't give up, it'll pay off later. God is greater, through the pain you're a giant slayer. Let the haters hate while you